Let me talk to the men out there listening real quick. Guys, are you suffering from erectile dysfunction, fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido, brain fog, sleep disturbances? Hey, low libido, ask your girlfriend or wife. She'll let you know if you're suffering from that or not. That's sex drive. If you'll text my name, Clay, in all caps to 601-327-8550, 601-327-8550, Men's Health of Mississippi and the Clay Edwards Show are going to hook you up with a free testosterone screening. They're located in Madison, Mississippi at 120 Fountains Boulevard. You can check them out online, menshealthms.com. But one more time, text my name, all caps, Clay, to 601-327-8550 and get your free testosterone screening scheduled today. Enjoy the rest of this show. Boom, shaka, laka, boom. And that was like a boom in my headphones. They were turned up a little louder than I thought. That's how you start a Monday morning here on the most incendiary show on the radio, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am Clay Edwards. This is WYAB 103.9 FM. Good morning. It was a wet Monday. A lot of storms came through overnight. Probably going to be a lot of storms coming through today, I guess. I hadn't really had a chance to really watch the weather yet. From the time my feet hit the ground this morning to now, I hadn't had a chance to slow down. Chip Matthews called me on the way in this morning, said to let everybody know there's a lot of power outages in the Ridgeland area. Got a text from some other folks, said there was power out throughout some areas in Madison as well. But hey, you know if you don't have power, you don't need to hear it from me. But hopefully, here's something else. Don't ever assume that Entergy knows your power's out. Don't ever assume that your neighbor reported the outage. Always report the outage. Just a little food for thought there. Because multiple times I've done it. And they're like, thank you, we had not had a report here yet. I'm still drinking my coffee this morning. Oh, man, I had a good weekend. Let's do this first. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. 769-241-1944. Phone line, Mazda of Jackson. Man, be sure you get out there to support Mazda of Jackson. Get your free TV and a powertrain, lifetime powertrain warranty with every purchase. We'll tell you more about them here throughout the show today. Right there in North Jackson, MazdaJackson.com. But Mazda Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002 if you want to call in this morning. If you guys see any red lights out, wrecks, trees in the road, anything you think can be useful to your fellow listeners here on the live and local area in central Mississippi, text it in, call it in, let us know. Always like to try to be helpful to folks out there on the roads when we can. I've had several people this morning already text in and ask me if I know anything about the triple homicide out there in Ridgeland yesterday. I mean, I know what y'all know. It was 3 folks shot dead in a house. I did see their ages range from like 41 to 70. I mean, I know that we're in the media. You're not supposed to speculate. You're supposed to just report the facts. Well, I like to speculate like most people do. I don't consider myself a journalist per se. I believe if you had to, based on the fact that we didn't get any kind of, what am I trying to say? Bolo. We didn't get a bolo for anybody or anything like that. I'm going to guess this was a murder-suicide. I could be 100% wrong, but just based on it just did not feel like an emergency afterwards. I didn't see, in the videos I was seeing, I didn't see people running around with their hair on fire. I don't know. Was this a murder-suicide? Or is there somebody out there on the loose that killed 3 people in Ridgeland and got out without being caught? I find that hard to believe. I mean, just knowing the way they do law enforcement up there. So, we shall see. I imagine that'll come out today. I don't know if they released their names yet. Like I said, they did release their ages. I'm pulling up the news sites now. So I hope all the people texting me at 6 in the morning asking me this are listening to the radio show right now. If you're up that early, you better be listening to the radio show. Let's see here. WLBT, authorities investigating triple homicide. All right, so they have not released their names, but it was a 42, a 56, and a 76-year-old, and they were all related. So that's what I got there. Sad situation. Mother's Day massacre in Ridgeland, Mississippi. I guess I could play out a bunch of different scenarios in my head of what that coulda, woulda, shoulda, how it happened. I won't do that. But sad nonetheless. Family killed on Mother's Day. I didn't even get to see my mom yesterday. Her and my grandmother went somewhere. Tried calling her a couple times, and the phone kept going straight to voicemail. I was like, dang. I text her. 8 hours later, I get an I love you text back. I love you too. I'm like, you've been absentee all Mother's Day, which it worked out because I was absentee as well as I was on the couch, half asleep, watching documentaries all day. Your boy checked out early. I have not done that in a long time. My dogs, I got 2 little small dogs. They kind of took over my couch. I keep blankets over it, and I wash the blankets every week and stuff. But they've just kind of ruined the cushions sitting on top of them, just sunk them in. And I had to go over there and kind of make the cushions. Anyway, I had to rebuild the couch so I could lay on it, it felt like. So I finally went over there, got laid on the couch, went and got some pillows off the bed. I'm telling you, I ain't done this in forever. I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. Usually me and the girlfriend are doing stuff, or I'm doing show prep, I'm watching podcasts, watching YouTube clips, trying to get stuff together. And finally I was like, I got to unplug a little bit and just kind of touch some grass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get so caught up in this culture war and doing this and trying to be the first one with information and making those TikTok videos and Instagram, and just, you get sucked into this. And it's easy to forget that there's real life going on around you. That happened to me last weekend. I didn't leave my computer pretty much the whole weekend. When I did, like, me and the girlfriend went to Walmart for something and ran a couple errands. And y'all know I hate Walmart. We went to Walmart and Home Depot and just had to run some errands. And I was so not there. I was not in the moment at all. And I knew it. I had 2 different posts going viral about me on the internet, and I couldn't focus on her because I was trying to see what people were saying about me. I was like, I'm not doing this again. I got through I handled my business, but I got through that weekend, and I was like, I am not doing this another weekend. I don't care if the digital world that I live in during the week is on fire on the weekends. I'm not hitting it with a fire extinguisher. I am unplugging on the weekends. So that's what I attempted to do yesterday. And Saturday, we went out to Shuckers and Pelican and just had a good time. Nice weather, man. There was no way I wasn't going to get out Saturday and go get the reservoir, at least in the background. Man, it's beautiful out there. Anyway, so yesterday I'm laying around. I watched 2 documentaries on Hulu. So like I told you, I unplugged the best I could. So one of them was called the Ku Klux Klan Nighthawk, interview with the Ku Klux Klan Nighthawk or something like that. It's a George Stephanopoulos ABC News documentary. And it's about a prison, these 3 prison guards in Florida, North Florida, that were going to pay, they're all members of the Klan. Still, now this happened back in 2014, by the way. So they're still members in the Klan, all inbred. And they decided they wanted to have a black guy in jail that was currently in prison killed when he got out. I've yet to figure out exactly what he did. I think I dozed off during that moment. I was in and out of it all day. But long story short, they were having a Klan rally, a cross burning. I mean, they really laid it on thick for this thing. They were having a cross burning, and they approached the Nighthawk, which I learned watching this. I did not previously know this because I am not an expert on the Klan, contrary to some of y'all's popular beliefs. The Nighthawk is the head of security for the Klan. And you got to go, anything you plan on doing violence wise, I guess you have to run it through the Nighthawk and it has to be planned and all this stuff. I still can't believe that idiots are playing or LARPing as Klansmen in as late as 2014. I can only imagine things that go on at these things. Is it like a family reunion of sorts? I could go on and on. Anyway, nothing I want to say right now is radio friendly. So they approach the Nighthawk and they tell him, we got a mission. And they come, they tell him what to do. He's like, all right, well, we got to meet again. Long story short, the Nighthawk, of course, was a FBI informant that was working undercover. It's a really interesting story because inevitably, of course, they got busted. They all went to jail. Black guy gets out of jail. FBI agent, who's not really an FBI agent, he's kind of a citizen soldier that the FBI has recruited 2 different times now to infiltrate the KKK. And he doesn't even look like somebody that I would, like in my mind, I have the KKK visioned as a bunch of inbred bubbas that whose lack of self-awareness is painted on their faces. Anyway, so he infiltrates them. They go to jail. And then, of course, him and the black dude whose life he saved, per se, became good buddies. And that's the end of the story. So I watched that. But it wasn't bad. I recommend watching it. If you can stomach all the everybody in the South is a racist nonsense. And then I stumble on to a gym. We're going to take a break. But I stumble onto this thing on Hulu called Black Twitter. Oh, boy. Set my hair on fire yesterday. I woke up for this one. The righteous indignation of these folks. Yeah, I ask y'all to watch it because I think you need to understand exactly what you're dealing with and exactly why you don't need to take any nonsense from these people. They do not like you. They don't. The double standard is real. We're going to talk about it on the other side of this break. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back here on WYAB. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by our friends over there at A1 Gear and Auto, Florence, Mississippi, Highway 49 South. If you're heading down 49, they're right there on your right as soon as you get into Florence. As soon as you get into Florence, you look on your right, big white building, big red sign, A1 Gear and Auto. They can take care of all of your automotive repair needs. The only thing they don't work on is diesel engines. We have another fine sponsor here at WYAB that works on diesel engines. As a matter of fact, they specialize in working on diesel engines at that other sponsor. I will give you their name if you ever need it. Anyway, A1 Gear and Auto. That's what we're talking about today. What they specialize in particular, is your ring and pinion, your rear end, your front end, all the stuff under your vehicle that makes it go down the road. So get by, check them out. I know a lot of you folks, it's about to be Jeep weather. It is Jeep weather. Who are we kidding? I see all the rubber duckies rolling down the road. You done got you a new Jeep, done put some big wheels and tires on it, and now you can't get out of your own way because you didn't change out the ring and pinion to a lower gear to help move those big tires, to help turn them. A1 Gear and Auto can get all that taken care of for you. Get over there. See them today. Highway 49 South. A1 Gear and Auto. All right, so this next segment's going to be kind of controversial because I got a lot of stuff to say about it. And per usual, when I had to get into some controversial stuff, I'm casting a wide net. And if you know I'm not talking about you, I'm not talking about you. I feel like that's the best way to kind of put a parental advisory, so to say, on these conversations. But if I am talking about you, and you feel like I'm talking about you, I probably am. So I watched the Black Twitter documentary on Hulu yesterday. And I mean, I'm somewhat surprised, but not really. It just how comfortable so many black folks have become with just being openly racist and full of righteous indignation. And these are the same people, and I'm particularly talking about the people that were on this documentary. And I don't know their names. They're just random hashtag Black Twitter users that they felt started important hashtags. Helped start the Black Twitter movement. And they sit here and it's just like a lot of these guys like in Woke Jackson, as I call them. These guys reminded me of, it's the black, angry Gen X crowd that I keep talking about. It's exactly who this is. I'm going to have to go make another video after this today and point this out. It's no different than your Brad Franklin's here locally, a.k.a. Kamikaze. It's no different than Fat Melvin that works for the mayor. All these guys I've been kind of, for lack of a better term, beefing with since I got into media. They think they can call out any resistance to their narrative racism. And if you don't 100% go along to get along, you're a racist. And too many of you white guys out there are scared of being called a racist. And that's what's got us into this mess. Because you're scared of publicly disagreeing or publicly telling these fools they're wrong. That what you're doing is wrong. But y'all won't tell them this. Because worst thing you can be called is a racist. Or you can say, look them dead in the eye when they call you racist. And you can say one or two things. So? Or, okay, prove it. Call them on the carpet. Make them tell you what's racist about constructive criticism. They can't do it. I've been arguing with these fools for a week. In particular, some strange drag queen from Jackson on Twitter. White drag queen from Twitter in Jackson. Anyway. And she just, whatever it is, just keeps going back to accusing me of being in the KKK. I'm like, I don't think our argument is a race argument here. I'm telling you, you're a trans nutjob. I don't know how this translates into me being in the KKK, but neither here nor there. Let's see here. So they brag about inventing cancel culture on this thing. And it just gets me to thinking, like, that's how you really have to fight fire with these people, man. You really, really do. For me, Black Twitter is award show Twitter. It was always NBA Twitter. It was always fun back in the day. I'm talking about the late 2010s, not the late 2010s, it'd have been the early 2010s, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, in that era. Especially like when LeBron James and them were actually good and he was with the Heat and all that. It was fun to watch all that on Twitter because I used to actually kind of like the NBA. I can't watch it. I hate basketball, period, now. If they never dribbled another ball, the world would be better off. If we could convince most of these kids they are not going to be pro basketball players or rappers, the world would be a much better place. If we just took those two things off the board and said you're going to have to find something else to put your hopes and dreams on, you probably ain't going to be a basketball player, son. Anybody can be a rapper, but don't mean you can be a good one. Anybody can host a talk radio show, but it don't mean you're a good one. I know somebody out there saying that right now. But so let me say it for you. My Eminem 8 Mile moment. Anyway, that's what Black Twitter was to me. It was a place where it was funny. They said crazy things. There was a lot of funny memes and gifs and all this stuff. And then this is going through their timeline here. Then Trayvon Martin happened. And I know that some of my black friends out there and me disagree on this. I know Sean disagrees with me on this. And I've got, I keep saying I need to go back and watch this with a fresh set of eyes. But I still think at minimum Trayvon put himself in a bad situation. I don't believe the media spin on it. George Zimmerman couldn't be a more unlikable individual at the same time. But I still don't think he was guilty. I still think that it was self-defense. Once that fight started and that dude ended up on top of him, he did what he had to do. But that's another, I don't want to get into that today. But that's where it started there. That's where the quote-unquote rise of black Twitter started, according to this documentary, was Trayvon Martin. Because for a while, Trayvon's moms kept calling into a radio show and talking about they killed her son. This guy killed her son. So black Twitter, it kind of gets to rolling in Florida, and it spreads and it spreads and it spreads. And next thing you know, Obama makes the Trayvon, if I had a son, it would look like Trayvon comment. So they got their pound of flesh, so to say. Even though Zimmerman was found innocent, black Twitter hangs its hat on the fact that they believe they helped create that monster. They helped bring him to trial. Well, you fast forward a little bit. Of course, they take credit for Occupy Wall Street. I don't know how black Twitter thinks it took credit for Occupy Wall Street, but neither here nor there. Let's fast forward to Black Lives Matter. And throughout all this, man, it's just this righteous indignation. It's very anti-white. It's just very racist watching the thing. I mean, legitimately racist. Real racisms. The way they talk about white people throughout this whole thing. Now, they'll call me a racist for pointing this out. That's fine. They've called me a racist so many times, I've lost track of how many times and who all said it. I don't care anymore. I know what's true. You don't have to believe it if you don't want to. I'm not here to sell you on what I am and ain't. So they get to the Black Lives Matter stuff. And they treat it like it is the modern day civil rights movement. It's comical. I'm like, okay, they're at least going to show all the riots and looting and the mostly peaceful protests, right? They're going to take credit for all that too. You can't take credit for the good and then not take credit for the bad. They glossed right over the entire summer of love in 2020. And they took it from George Floyd. And of course, they blamed George Floyd's death on white folks and Donald Trump. They took it straight from that to how, and look, I'm telling you, and this is why I come at black Democrats so hard. They still to this day brag about and take credit for Joe Biden being in office. Like that, they've hung their hat on, we did this. We got that evil, dastardly Donald Trump out of office. And I'm saying all this pretending that election wasn't stolen. We know it was, but just for the sake of arguing here. Saying all that with a big caveat is that they didn't do crap because that election was stolen. Now, they helped steal it. That they did. They helped steal it, especially in Georgia and Michigan. But they so proudly pretend that they helped get Trump out of office, that they somehow saved the world by eliminating Trump from office and getting Joe Biden in there. Well, I'm just looking at 4 years later what a mess everything is. And let me back up a little bit. And they take it straight from there to look at how pissed off these white people are. Excuse my language. Then they show all the worst scenes from January 6th. They treat January 6th like it was Pearl Harbor. And a bunch of angry, racist white people trying to undo what black people had done to save America. It was absolutely disgusting. And they glossed right over the entire Black Lives Matter summer of love and destruction. That's the media that's out there. I don't know what I expected. I mean, I guess it's part of me. I just like to affirm. Like sometimes I think, Claire, you're being too hard. Do you live online a little too much? It's not really like that out there. That's just a few select nut jobs. And then I watch stuff like this and it reaffirms why I fight this fight. There's a big group of people out there that we've done a lot for that hate us. There's no way you can watch this and not start side-eyeing some folks. But man, do you really think like that about me? About all that we've done? About all that our generation has done? You know, I mentioned this in my Black Gen X video. Gen Xers, black and white, did a whole lot to put the racist past in the past. Now, I can't vouch for rural Mississippi and backwoods justice and all this stuff that, you know, these documentaries and Hollywood likes to portray every person that lives outside the city limits of Jackson as some kind of inbred Ku Klux Klan racist. But I can speak on how I grew up in Jackson for 43 years. It was never somebody in a white robe that I had to worry about clubbing me upside the head. You know, our generation did more to eliminate racism than any other generation previously. We were integrated. We stayed at each other's houses. White folks had posters of black people on their walls. Black music, black culture. I could go on and on about the culture stuff. We worked together. We went to school together, lived together, played together, partied together, everything. Played sports together. Rarely, if ever, talked about race stuff. And then somehow that same group of blacks, the Gen Xers, grew up and got angry. And I've yet to figure out what you're so angry about. We grew up identical. You had every opportunity and frankly more than I got because you're black. You had more education opportunities, more employment opportunities. I'm trying to figure out why you're mad. Let's take a break. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, come hang out with me this Wednesday night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. You come out a little earlier if you need to. We'll probably get there a little earlier. Burgers, Blues, Barbecue in downtown Brandon. It's week 2 of our cordless corner competition. We've got it down to 10 contestants. They're going to be going at it for the next 5 weeks. For the next 4 weeks. For cash, prizes, and great headlining opportunities at some local festivals. So it's an acoustic guitar competition. We had some, amazing talent that I didn't know existed this past week. Anyway, we'll be there again this week, doing it up. I would say 300 or so people were there last Wednesday. Great crowd. Get there early so you can get a seat. You got the big covered patio. Got all the fans, got all the TVs. If there's any games on, you won't miss them at Burgers, Blues, Barbecue. So Wednesday night, 7 to 10, Cordless Corner. I'll be there live. I'm one of the judges, along with Chad Wesley and a few others. Bender, Brandon from over at WLBT, a couple other folks. So get over there Wednesday night, enjoy some great food. But in the meantime, did you know they have a Flowood location? Get to the Flowood location of Burgers Blues Barbecue today. They're open now for breakfast. Is your power out at the house? Want some breakfast? Swing over to Burgers Blues Barbecue. Try the chicken and waffles. Maybe you've been up all night. Maybe you need a sounds weird to promote drinking beer at 7:30 in the morning here, but YOLO. They do have that early morning happy hour for those third shift workers. Get over there and get you a $4 Bloody Mary, $4 mimosa, or $1 off draft beer, and some chicken and waffles. I mean, fried chicken, beer, and waffles. I mean, come on. Is there really ever really a bad time for that? Of course, get you a designated driver if you partake in any of those shenanigans, or hit up one of our great Uber drivers here that listen to the show. All right, burgersblues.com. I'll see you there Wednesday night, downtown Brandon. So I want to read a text on the Guns and Gear text line. By the way, 769-241-1944 if you want to chime in this morning. Would love to hear from you. Agree? Disagree? Am I right? Am I wrong? Tell me some of your experiences. Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. I mean, look, man, we got to have these tough conversations. We're never going to get past this era that we're stuck in, where everybody's just pointing at each other and calling each other racist because we disagree. We're never going to get past this if we don't start having tough conversations. That's what I was told we had to do by a very prominent local Democrat. And what he meant was, Clay, we just need all y'all to admit y'all are racist, and let's go on to the next phase. Well, I'm not going to do that. But I'm willing to have some tough conversations, and that's what we're doing this morning. Tough conversations. If you're a detractor and you can hold your anger in and come here and have a professional conversation without cussing, without stomping and throwing a hissy fit, open invitation to just about anybody. There's a few people I have no interest in talking to, but you're welcome to come on here. I mean, I've never been disrespectful to a single guest. I'm not going to start now. But bring your A game. Bring your facts. I don't care about your feelings. Bring your facts, and let's talk. But I want to read a text or two on the Guns and Gear text line. By the way, the red lights are out again at Ridgewood and Lakeland. So be careful. There's no officers directing traffic either. Appears to be the honor system. You can imagine that's going well. Westbound lane coming into Jackson backed up really bad. So avoid the intersection of Ridgewood and Lakeland this morning if you can. Spook text in and says, you are correct. It's sad that as a black man, I have to guard the conversation I have with my family members. If you're a black and you go against the grain, you are seen as a sellout when you're only trying to better your life and environment. It's as if living in crime-ridden cities are a rite of passage. Just wanted to chime in as a black man that doesn't fit the culture narrative. I love that we got some black folks that listen to this show and are willing to have tough conversations with us. I love when I meet you guys when I'm out and about. To me, that's worth all the swords, the arrows, the bullets I take doing this. Is getting to actually reach people and have real conversations with people who aren't afraid to say, you know what, I don't agree with everything you say, but you're right on this. And I appreciate that. This just goes back to this white flight conversation. I mean, why are we expected to just stick around when things have gone to hell? I don't expect you to. I mean, seriously. It's not racist to not want to be around crime-ridden, violent people. It doesn't matter what race they are. They just so happen to, the majority just so happens to be black in Jackson, but that's nobody's fault. But it doesn't change that people don't want to be around that nonsense. I love living around black folks. I don't want to live around violent criminals, white or black or Hispanic or Chinese. Never met a violent Chinese person in America, by the way. Their family structure here ain't about that. They don't allow that nonsense. They do not allow that here. But my point being, kind of getting off track there, back to the white flight thing. The first, you'll call us racist constantly for wanting to get out of these bad areas where we're just tax slaves for DEI purposes. We're Choctaways tax slaves in Jackson. All the focus and energy and income in Jackson, all the money goes to funding this free the land nonsense. They can't even keep the red lights working. What are they doing with your tax money? You're tax slaves, and you're getting nothing in return for it. But the first thing you cats do when you get any money is move exactly where the white people went to. And that's fine. Just leave your Jackson nonsense in Jackson. I had to leave mine when I moved. That was part of the deal. I had to leave my Jackson nonsense in Jackson. You got to check that at the door. The shooting in Flowood a few weeks ago. They didn't leave their, or Brandon, whatever you want to call that little reservoir area. I just call it Flowood. It may be the county of Brandon, 047. I'm not going to get caught up in semantics here. They didn't leave their Jackson nonsense in Jackson. They had moved out to Jackson about 2 years prior. One son comes back into Jackson and gets killed. Another son, allegedly trying to steal a gun that he's buying from a guy and gets killed. They didn't leave Jackson in Jackson. That's just a hard reality that people have to accept. If you're going to get up out of all that, as folks like to say, you got to leave that there. You know, I got to take a break. I've run over. We'll be right back. Back into the Clay Edwards Show. I want to read a text I just got here on the Guns and Gear text line from a buddy of mine. We'll call him Johnny. He says, "You are so right on this topic. As a white kid in the 80s who grew up with a lot of racist views spouted at me from older family members, we rose above all that. We went to school every day with black kids. We were the first generation to do so. We played sports together and had no problems. Invited them into our homes. I would love to see a documentary that discusses the good our generation did for race relations in this country instead of ones that beat that same old dead horse." I mean, look, I hate referring to this, my black friend, but it's relevant to this conversation. I got a black guy I grew up with, Marvell. He's still to this day like a brother. He's a Democrat. And we disagree on a whole lot of stuff. But you know why he moved to Arizona? You know why he moved from Jackson to Arizona? It wasn't because of the Klan. We'll just say that. You know, I mean, this dude, we grew up together. It was ride or die. I knocked a dude out at a nightclub one night that called him an N-word. That's why I just get like so. I get so much brain damage when y'all sit here and talk about this racist Klan stuff. It's like I'm speechless right this second, honestly, because I think back at some of the things that our generation did to beat the racism out of people, and we get zero credit for it now. We'll be right back. 7 minutes. Boom, shakalaka boom. It's hour 2 of the most incendiary show on the radio where we have tough conversations. And by tough conversations, I mean we don't agree just because we're told we have to. We question the narrative. We go against the grain because we're free-range humans, and we do what the hell we want to do. We think how we want to think. We call a spade a spade. I actually believe what I see with my eyes. Don't tell me, don't believe my lying eyes. We do that 2 hours a day, every Monday through Friday, right here on the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, make sure you're following me on X. It's been unhinged over there for the last couple of weeks. I think we're putting out some of our best content. I know so many of y'all hate TikTok. I get it. I make money on TikTok. I have a different opinion of it. But for the sake of the people who refuse to go log into TikTok, I am taking those same videos and I'm uploading them directly to X. Follow me on X so you can see content gold. At SaveJXN. That's my handle. It's my handle on all social media. At the little @ SaveJXN. Give me a follow. Engage with me. Shoot me a DM. Tell me, hey, I typically follow everybody back. As long as I can halfway verify who you are. I don't follow fake accounts if I can help it. Hey, real quick, man. You got some storm damage. I know you do. Man, it's been a rough couple of weeks, hasn't it? You probably need a rollback dumpster. We had Ready Teddy McRaney with Reliable Rental Equipment on the show with us Friday for a few minutes. He called in just to kind of give us a heads up on some specials. You know, if you get any earth moving equipment, if you rent any earth moving equipment, you're going to get a free 10-yard dumpster with that. You need to get in touch with them for the details and all that. I don't want to misquote. Also, there was another special too. Get the free 10-yard dumpster. Yeah, and if you rent a dumpster or anything for that matter, if you rent it on Friday, you get Sunday for free. That's pretty cool. Maybe if you rent it on Saturday, you get it Sunday for free. Whatever. There's one situation over there where you get Sunday free. Get with Ready Teddy. Let him get you the details on that. So, yeah, if you rent it on Friday and Saturday, you still get Sunday free if you rent it for 2 days. So, whatever. Y'all can figure that out. Man, they got you covered on all your heavy earth-moving equipment, zero-turn mowers, golf carts, side-by-sides, generators. Man, you got your power out right now? You need a generator? Don't know when it's going to come back on? Hit them up. I may start running some prevent defense and renting a generator in front of these big storms instead of waiting until after. Man, it looks like we're going to have a really, really busy storm season this year here in central Mississippi. Our spring storms, early summer storms. But they got you covered there at Reliable Rental Equipment. I was talking about generators, thinking about our old sponsor there. But anyway, Reliable Rental Equipment located right there on Meadowbrook Road in North Jackson across from the old Meadowbrook Theater on the corner of North State and Meadowbrook. Go see Steven, the owner. Good people, man. Good, solid Jacksonian. Lifelong Jacksonian. Ready Teddy McRaney. Lifelong Jacksonian. Go see these guys. Let them help you out. They reinvested, Steven and his family invested back into the community that they grew up in. I'm just telling you, I talk a lot of noise about Jackson because I expect better out of it. Not because I hate Jackson. I expect better out of Jackson. I expect people to quit making excuses for themselves. Plant seeds. Plant seeds and watch it grow. That's what Steven and his family did when they built Reliable Rental Equipment. Check them out, reliablerentalequipment.com. All right, man, let's go over to my X account here real quick, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to do the thing formerly known as Twitter. So I made a tweet yesterday or whatever, and I said, I just watched the Black Twitter documentary on Hulu. If you can watch this trash and not immediately realize who the real racists are in this country, you're watching the wrong documentary. There's this account. I haven't dug enough into it. It's a guy that used to be a journalist. It's a black guy. Goes by the name Slim Smith. I don't know who he is, so it's a fake account as far as I'm concerned. It's a troll account. So his best reply to this was, and this is one of the biggest problems we have, it's one of the things Kim Wade talks about a lot, is these guys who can't get their heads out of the 1950s and 60s. Everything has to revolve around the racism of the 50s and 60s to justify all of their bad behavior today. He said, yeah, the people on the business end of Bull Connor's fire hoses were the real racist. Some things never change. And I just reply simply, there we go. Living in the past to justify your current racism. And then his reply is this, they always got to take it back to whatever the lowest common denominator is. He says, quote, you're racist against whites, unquote, is the most comically ignorant, fly my Confederate flag from the roof of my meth lab, double wide response of the past 20 years or so. In other words, right on brand for you. See what I mean? They don't want to have that conversation that we don't live in the 1950s and 60s anymore. And I do. I refuse to discuss beyond saying, yep, that's bad, it sucked, I wasn't alive, nothing I can do. As a matter of fact, if let's just pretend we're talking about 1960, I wasn't born for 17 more years. 1977. I didn't start understanding any of these moving parts, any of this complex racial history until I was in my mid-teens, or, 12, 13 years old, stuff of that nature. You start learning at school, you start realizing, understanding history a little bit. So a good 20 years, a good 30 years from 1960 to 1990. I guess I was 14 years old in 90. 13. I got my license in 92. I was 15. So in 90, I was 13. You kind of start understanding it a little bit. You know what I was doing at 13 years old, man? I was watching MTV. I was wanting to learn how to play guitar. I was wanting to be a rock star. Now, obviously, I never achieved those goals, as you're well aware of. But that's what I was doing at 13. I wasn't worried about 1960. I wasn't worried about what black folks was doing. And I know somebody's out there right now saying to themselves, that's your white privilege. You didn't have to worry about it. So predictable. So predictable. Just we grew up in a good time to be alive, white folks and black folks. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that you were dealt some kind of bad card if you were born in the late 70s, early 80s. I ain't doing it. You were born into the same world I was. You have every opportunity that I did, and sometimes more. Let's see here. Something else. I mean, we're gonna somewhat shift gears here. I just shared this on X, and we're going to talk about the double standard a little bit. I'm going to talk about this stuff. I'm going to talk about these black trans murderers that are out here. The same people who scream, they're hunting trans as people. These SSRI-riddled nut jobs that can't even decide what gender they are. I mean, I have a restraining order on one of these idiots. They're not sane people. This happened in Houston over the weekend. Well, I'm assuming over the weekend. It doesn't necessarily say it's breaking, so I'm assuming it happened over the weekend. I just shared this at SaveJXN. You can go see the video yourselves. It's disgusting. It's from a Colin Rugg. It lives a TikTok shared. It's how I stumbled across it. It says, new. Man killed by transgender driver who plowed into him, backed over him, stabbed him 9 times before kissing him and prancing over his body. And by prancing, he means twerking. And it says absolutely horrific. 20-year-old suspect Karan Fisher is a man, according to court papers. After trying to flee the scene in a car, Fisher jumped over the body of 64-year-old Stephen Anderson. The Houston man was going to check his mail when he was attacked. Fisher was charged for the murder and is being held on a $2 million bond. He was also charged with assaulting a hospital staff member on the same day. And it shows the video. It shows the guy's web ring cam here. He's just walking out to the street, and this crazy black trans thing in a Dodge Charger, plows over him and then backs back over him and then gets out. I'm sorry, it's a Challenger, not a Charger. Same thing. Then backs back over him, gets out, stabs him, and it's wearing it looks like it just got off at the strip club. And then finally it just kind of runs and skips away, frolics away. I want y'all to think about something for 1 second. Since they love to play make-believe and fantasy and all this stuff and pretend that everything that happens today is because of 1960, Bull Connor. Imagine for a second, and you're not hearing about this anywhere. You're hearing about it here on the Clay Edwards Show. You haven't seen a breaking news from WLBT, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN. Nobody. The White House hasn't come out and denounced this straight white male killing. They're hunting us. As LeBron James would say, they're hunting us down and they're killing us. Imagine for a second the roles were reversed in this deal. And it was a black trans thing walking down the street, and some middle-aged straight white man decided to run over it, then back over it, get out, stab it 9 times, and prance over it. It would be blood in the streets from California to Florida, from Mississippi to Michigan. It would not be safe to leave the house if you were white. If the roles were reversed in this, by the time the media narrative machine got done pushing their agenda. And oh God, if he had anything on social media about being a Trump supporter, I hope I'm not giving, this is probably the next false flag. Is now they're going to, they got this one happen. Now they're going to say it was revenge for, it was a trans revenge killing. And they need some kind of linchpin other than Free Palestine to activate the nut jobs for summer riots and election chaos. But just imagine for a second what the narrative would be and what the media crap storm would look like if the roles were reversed in this horrendous crime. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, give Watkins Construction and Roofing a call today. After these storms have been through, you probably need to get your roofs checked out. They're going to do a complimentary roof inspection. That means they're going to come out. They're going to check out, see what's wrong with it. If there's any issues at all, maybe you just got a soft spot. Maybe you got a small leak that can be repaired. No big deal. Maybe you need an entire roof replacement. They'll send a qualified inspector out. They're going to vault the thing. They're going to check every square inch of it. And they're going to let you know what their best plan of action needs to be. They're going to work with your insurance company. They're going to be in contact with you every step of the way. And next thing you know, boom, all your problems have been taken care of, and you've got a new roof or you got your leak fixed. They're going to come out. They're going to be professional. They're going to clean up after themselves. They're not going to damage your landscaping. They're not going to be playing any boom, 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 bumpity, bump, bump, bump music that's going to insult your neighbors or you and yourself or your kids. and they're going to clean up after themselves. Just good folks, man. Locally owned, locally operated, operating statewide and in Alabama. Watkins Construction. You can check them out at nomoreroofleak.com. Nomoreroofleak.com. Get your complimentary inspection today. Let's take a call here on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Hey, brother, you on there?
Hey, Clay, how you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I'm a little fired up this morning, about this, I don't know if you want to call it reverse race. I hate the term reverse racism because racism is just racism. But I'm just sick and tired of the same people who constantly call us racist being the actual racist.
Well, I mean, there is a common yarn to the whole thing, whether you're talking about that transgender activist who killed a guy or
the
reverse racism and things like that. And, in my opinion, the powers that be that we've talked about, James talks about, that's trying to usher in this tyranny. Well, to usher in the tyranny, you've got to destroy the structure that exists. Like I keep saying, a virus invades a weak vessel. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to unravel. And part of that whole thing is they celebrate the worst in society and they dismantle, strong and productive programs like Boy Scouts and things like that. Talking about the reverse racism, if white privilege is such a thing, why is it when anybody who applies for college or applies for a government job or applies for any job, really, especially corporate America, the last thing that they want to do is put on that application that they're white? If they've got 1/4 inch Indian blood like Pocahontas, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
They want, I'm Indian or I'm 1/4 black or whatever, so I'm black, so they can get special privileges, in the hiring process.
Well, it's why I brought it up in that conversation earlier about Black Gen X and white, or just Gen X growing up together. And in a lot of situations, if you were black or minority, you had the upper hand. And that's what I was referring to with there is no such thing as white privilege. It's honestly, it's black privilege or minority privilege.
Exactly. And, and you're talking about, when you're talking about, you're remembering things in your high school. I graduated in '85 from Byram High School, and it was all one big school. And blacks and whites kind of dressed the same. Our interaction in school was fine. I didn't see any of those issues, but it's like now it's been so ginned up. Now, I ain't saying they're not getting together, getting along in high schools today just fine, but society, they just poked and poked and poked and they caused these divisions. I mean, you were talking about watching,
Black Twitter documentary,
music TV.
Oh yeah.
MTV,
yeah.
Really, I noticed that like in the 90s is when there's kind of like a separation the way people dressed and talked and started turning their hat around sideways and all that kind of stuff. But the larger point, though, is it seems like they're trying to do everything they can. They celebrate these idiots out there. They celebrate the worst in society, and they say to the young people, you should emulate that. They're not saying you should emulate, the most productive or the wisest or the entrepreneurs in society, because they're not trying to make society a better society. They're trying to tear it down so it can be invaded.
Agreed. 100%, brother. Great call as always. Did we lose him there? All right. Let's take another call here real quick. Hey, you're on there.
What's up, Clay?
Hey.
Elrod.
Hey, brother.
So, I was listening to Officer Tatum, and he brought up a good point about the racism thing. They were talking about the one-drop rule that these racist Democrats came up with. If you were a mixed-race child or you had one drop of another race in you, you were called by that race. I know for a fact I have a number of races dropped in my blood, so I'm going to start referring to myself as those races.
Oh, look, if I ever get around to doing a 23andMe, hey, we got a connection issue, but listen to what I have to say on the other end. Sorry about that. We're a little water in the line or something there. I'm gonna get around to doing a 23andMe at some point, and if I got any, y'all better keep y'all fingers crossed, I ain't got no minority in me. Woo, son. Well, y'all think I'm wild now. It's gonna be like the Taliban up in here. Y'all let me find out. I got 1% of anything in me. Other than Caucasian. It's on, son. It's on. I'm gonna get in touch with my ethnic side. Go to the motherland. Y'all ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. Let's see here. By the way, thank you for Lightning on the Guns and Gear text line for bringing this up. That was a hate crime, by the way. And it should be charged as a federal hate crime. It says, this is a hate crime. I believe all hate crimes against anyone should be called out. Why can't the left and the media do the same? Because they're never going to. I mean, MSNBC was created for this very reason. It's Microsoft and NBC. You're never turning that monster around. I mean, that's what they were created to do, was continue to drive this narrative. Man, let's read a couple more of your text here. It's absolutely a hate crime. But, hate crimes are only for white people who do something to black or gazes. That's just how it works. Spook disagrees with the caller. Conservative black people predicate their child's name on getting a job. Shanifica versus Victoria. Most won't admit this. Yeah, look, we could have a whole show about some of these names and how the train came off the tracks there. But y'all be better off watching the documentary Freakonomics. If you have not watched that, it's a book, but they turned it into like a documentary, kind of a documentary type thing. It's available on a lot of different outlets. It's called Freakonomics. And it goes into this whole chapter about the dumber your kid's name is, the worse their credit is. And you're basically laying their life out for them. Like when you name your kids after cars, when you name your kid Precious, basically when you name your little girls actual stripper stage names, it just never works out for them. They don't end up marrying the rich guy. They end up becoming strippers. I highly recommend watching Freakonomics. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, Chip Matthews is going to be coming up next here in the studio with the Chip Matthews Show. Be sure to stay tuned from 9 to 10 to check that out. And after you listen to that, wait till about 4 o'clock today. And then anytime between 4 and midnight, get over to Acme Pizza and Daiquiris right out there on the Reservoir at Old Fannin, and on Old Fannin there at Fannin Mart, right in front of the bowling alley there, and grab some of their made from scratch, freshly procured pizzas. Man, that's so good. I'm telling you, I know I talk about it a lot. The fresh ingredients, the pig, the fact that they cook the bacon on the pizza instead of putting cooked bacon and ham on it already. It gets lets that fat melt down into the cheese. So good. Man, maybe you don't want pizza, try the pasta. Maybe you don't want carbs, try the keto pizza or the cauliflower crust, whatever they call it. The gluten-free pizza. So many different options available. The Dynamite Balls are phenomenal. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris available on all major food delivery apps. 12 different specialty pizzas. Try the Wheel of Flavor if you can't make your mind up. It's 3 specialty pizzas piled onto one pie, and of course you can always build your own. They got 9 different frozen daiquiris on tap, available to go or delivery as well. It's Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. All right, So I was sitting at home last night, kind of going down all these kind of racial hot topic rabbit holes. And I just thought I would Google two terms. One being, what are some great things white people have done? And the other, what are some great things black people have done? I implore y'all play this game along with me. Or when you get settled in this morning, do the same. I'm going to show you two completely different narratives painted by Google search when you ask these two questions. We're going to start with names. What are some great things white people have done? Build the country, discover the country, invent electricity. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but no. That is not how Google doesn't like this question. So the first link is, what have white people ever done for us, from the BBC? The Guardian, the invention of whiteness, a long, dangerous history. Let's see here. The Smithsonian it's just titled Whiteness. Whiteness is also at the core of understanding race in America. Whiteness and the normalization of white racial identity throughout Americans' history. And I'm not even clicking on these things. I'm just reading you just the tidbit at the beginning here, the links. Let's see here. There's one from the World Channel. These are like just the top search results on Google. The history of white people in America. The white race was invented by rich Virginians in 1676 in the aftermath of the population rebellion of impoverished, indentured, and enslaved Africans. Huh? The white race was invented by rich Virginians? I'm going to call a flag on the play. Fake news. I'm pretty sure that white folks were not invented by rich Virginians. NBC News. White identity in America is ideological, not biology. What? PBS. A long history of racial preference for whites. The National Institute of Health. These are the same people. This is Dr. Fauci and them. The myth of innate racial differences between whites and blacks. Pew Research Center. Most in USA declining white share population. Amazon, stuff white people like, a definitive guide to the unique. I'm not clicking on none of this stuff. American Psychological Association, the invisibility of white privilege. You got to get all the way down here, 12, 13 links down to Quora. It's like a question and answer thing, kind of like Reddit. It says, what have white people invented? And it actually has a few of the things that white people invented, like the car. There's a little stuff that we use every day. All right, so let's go over to what are some great things black people have invented? I asked the same question. I just swapped white and black out. And this is a whole different setup over here. Google's even got some of its own words up at the top. It says, from the 3-light traffic signal, refrigerated trucks, automatic elevator doors, color monitors for desktop computers, to the shape of the modern ironing board. The clothes wringer, blood banks, laser treatment for cataract, home security systems, and the Super Soaker children's toy. Continuing along. I just want y'all to see the narrative difference here. All the white stuff was about racism of some sort. When I asked, what are great things white people have invented or done? What was the exact question? I want to make sure I get it right. It was not invented. I'm sorry. It said, what are some great things whites have done and what are some great things blacks have done? And then you get history.com. 8 black inventors who made daily life easier. UC San Diego Library, black inventors and their inventions. ABC Philadelphia, notable black Americans who helped change the world. The AP, 20 ways black people made history in 2020. How Stuff Works, top 10 inventions by African Americans. CAD Crowd, top 101 black inventors and African Americans best. Black Past, 101 African American first. National Geographic for Kids, African American heroes. Facing History and Ourselves, 9 leaders from black history you should know. Oprah Daily. We love kids, I'm kidding. 31 history-making black Americans everyone should know. The Daily Hive, 120 things you probably didn't know were created by black people. CNBC, 23 black leaders who are shaping history today. I could go on and on and on. My point being, there is a Colonel Rob Manass. I was on his show. You can find him on Twitter at Rob Manass, Maness. He loves the quote from gosh dang it, our current based black Supreme Court justice. I'm having a brain fart here. You know who I'm talking about. Where Joe Biden and them were basically acting like a digital lynch mob against him. Clarence Thomas. And Clarence Thomas made the comment that it's a digital lynch mob against him. There's a digital lynch mob against whiteness. It's just you're not allowed to be white. You're just not. Everything has to be negative about us, and everything has to be positive about black people. People are going to call me a racist for pointing this out. I'm just pointing out what I'm looking at. Don't tell me don't believe my lying eyes. But when I leave here today, it ain't Brandon I hope I don't break down in. It ain't Pearl I don't hope I have a flat tire in. It's Jackson. Let's take a call.
Your Google business.
Oh, gosh dang it. Spam. So it's one of the reasons I kind of figured this. I figured out this hack on TikTok and Instagram to make my videos go viral. I do exactly what the mainstream media does. I mention the person's race. Whether it's white or black, like black man, ... white man, ... And it creates an anger in people on both sides. But I cover a whole lot of Jackson crime. So the overwhelming majority of my videos start out with black man. I'm just doing what the media does. Except they only put the race when it's a black person having had something bad happen to them by somebody of another race, or they've accomplished some kind of first black ... They only mention white when it's the complete opposite. They did something bad to somebody black or minority, or, well, that's really it. That's the only time they mention somebody white's race, is when they do something bad to somebody, and when it's negative. It's just disgusting. We just play this game. It's like over in Belhaven back in 2021 when the crime got really, really bad over there, and folks were coming over there and just robbing, stealing, carjacking, doing all the stuff they were doing. These little young Jacksonian Taliban thugs from Jackson. In the Belhaven Next Door group, they banned you being able to say the suspects were black because they thought it was racist. Guys, you know the the first rule to beating anything is admitting you have a problem. There's a problem, and nobody's wanting to admit that we have a problem, and you just keep wanting to blame it on everything except what it is. Let's take some looks on the Guns of Gear text line. Wild Bill says, Matthew 24, Jesus explains it all. He also says, Clay, you should feel safe changing your flat tire in Jackson. Remember, this is a city full of inventors, and your chances are the inventor of the tire may live there. My car doesn't have a spare, and not because I used it and didn't put it back. Just these newer cars don't have a spare. So if I have a flat, I actually have to wait there for whoever invented the tow truck to bring it over. I'm hoping to not have to deal with that today. Spook had sent something in a minute ago. We were talking about some of these retarded names. This is from ESPN. This kid's name was Dakoldest Crawford. Played at Louisiana Tech. I mean, his mom, of course his mom gave him his name. His mom really reached on that one, didn't she? She's like, man, he's either going to be a baller or a rapper. I'm giving him the best name regardless. But, man, if it don't work out, he's in a bad situation. I mean, you gotta have a really dumb name to push through some of those workouts. I got to get through these 2-a-days. My damn name's the coldest. I can't be the bench warmer. Let's take a break, come back, land the plane for the day. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, as we land the plane for the day, it's not all doom and gloom out there. We're winning. We are winning. White Boy Summer is upon us. Everybody's welcome to join White Boy Summer. It's inclusive. We celebrate diversity and inclusion here, not equity. White Boy Summer is upon us. You saw it unfold in New Jersey over the weekend with over 100,000 mad MAGA maniacs showed up to see our Lord and Savior Donald J. Trump speak. It was a beautiful, beautiful sight. Red hats and gold shoes as far as the eye could see. Speaking of those gold shoes, I bought a pair, and I've got them on my bookshelf behind me at the house. I mean, so where all the haters can see them. And man, as I've been going viral some on X and really shaking the ground under the Democrats, they love to talk crap about those shoes. Oh, look at this idiot. He got some of those gold shoes. As a matter of fact, I did. As a matter of fact, I did. Because we're winning, baby. This ain't no Joe Biden 2000. Speaking of Joe Biden, I just shared on my X account, Ashley Biden confirms that he is, in fact, an incest-loving pedophile and does like to take unappropriate showers with his daughter. So for all the incest jokes around here, time for the Democrats to look in the mirror. Peace.